First of all, I just want to let you know that this book is really more than just my photographs. I dedicated this book to my mentor, my teacher, Mario Cabrera, back in New York City, who I went back to school in 1987 to study photography. And I met this amazing guy who I studied with for 2 years there. And of the many, many, many things he instilled upon me, know your craft, study your craft. He said to me once, you must know 5 ways to give your client what they think they want, and 5 more ways to give them what they want, but they never knew it. And he was a drill sergeant. He put me through the ringer, but I came out the other side, and that was 1988. I learned from the darkroom out. One of the things he said to me, of the many things he said to me, was, Fasano, anything that you do has to say something. Anything that you do in life has to say something. So when I started doing this book and putting it together in 2019, I didn't know what I was going to say. It was just it started out as a collection of photographs, and it began with the foundation of what I've been doing with the Americana Music Association here for 13 years, shooting portraits at Americana Fest for 13 years. That was the foundation. And then as I was curating that and I was putting it together, I realized that I wanted to add so much more to it. So then I went all the way back to 2003, and it begins with the image of Wilco that's in the book that I shot for Paste Magazine in 2003. And then a gentleman came to me, Ed Hurt, who I wish he was here tonight, wrote a beautiful essay in this book about the history of Americana, the importance of it, the diversity of it, and the all-inclusivity of it. And as he was talking to me, I went, okay. Then I included that, and then I included my story. And my story is that I quit my corporate job at 40 years old to do photography, to follow my passion of photography. And I said, I'm going to add that story in this as well, because that could be an inspiration of somebody even right here, right now, who is doing something they're not happy with, in a job they don't like, and they are looking for that inspiration to close that door and move to another area of their life, move to their passion in life, which is what I did at 40 to start this, where many photographers and many who I know started when they were 21 or 22 years old. So I added that. And then I called my good friend Mary Gaucher to write the foreword. And her foreword is so beautiful because it's about, it begins with she was my movie buddy here. And we went to see Bohemian Rhapsody together. But what came out of that night was a bond between the two of us that was so amazing, and she wrote about that. So I included all of that to say something where my photographs just illustrate the message that we're bringing with this book. And it's about diversity. It's about all-inclusiveness. The Americana genre is all about diversity. It has been for as long as I've been involved with it, for 16 years, and many years after that, and many years before it. It's all about all-inclusiveness, all different genres, all different races, creeds, and genders. And that is so important to me. And we wanted that to be something that this book talks about and says. And then the fact that I quit my job at 40. So not only do my images say something, they illustrate the story that we're telling with this, which is really, really so important to us. And I say us because there was a lot of people involved in this book. My friend Merlin David at Music and Musicians Magazine in LA, we began this book with 700 images. And we came together, and he said to me, Jeff, we have to see each image, we have to look at it as if one of them, and you could see one image hanging on a wall in a gallery. And that was our criteria for the images in this book. But it is so important for me, for the Americana genre, because it's a collection of people, we've got a few of them here tonight, who say something. They say something with their work. They're saying something in their songs. There's something, there's soul within it. And that is what's really important for me in this book, is that it's telling a story. It's telling a story of an amazing genre of music, amazing genre of people, a diverse genre of people, a diverse group of people, and an all-inclusivity that is so important. And the wonderful part about it, 95% of the images were shot here in Nashville, and the community here is just so wonderful. And I wanted to bring that out in this book as well. Many of the people in this book, many of the artists in this book are friends of mine and have become friends of mine. But it is so important that we say something with our lives, that we say something that is important, that we leave a mark somewhere, that we're making a difference, we're influencing somebody, we're influencing one person in this room. I did my first book event in the Blues Hall of Fame in Memphis last week or the week before, I don't remember. And I talked about quitting my job at 40, following this passion, and doing that at the age of 40. And a woman came up to me at the end and said, wow, I really want to quit my job. I really want to quit my job, and I've been trying to find a way to do this. And you're helping me make that decision. So, this book is a hell of a lot more than just my photographs. I did not want to do something that said, look at me. I did not want to do something that said, look at my work. India Ramey, Bill Lloyd, Jim Photoglow, the artists that are here, Claudia, who's here, when they write, they say something. When they write, their songs have meaning. When they write, their songs have value. When they write, their songs have purpose. There's a purpose to what they are writing. So there needed to be a purpose for this book. There needed really to be a purpose for this book, that it would say something in a town, in a place where, and in the world we are right now, that there is camaraderie, there's diversity, there's all-inclusiveness. That's what this book is saying. My images simply just illustrate that. So if you get the book, and you have the book, please read what we wrote in this book. Please read Ed Hurt's essay, because it says so much. Please read my story of quitting my job at 40 to follow my passion of photography. I turned 65 on Saturday, and it's been a long road. It's been an amazing road, and it wound up here in Nashville, and where 95% of these images were taken. And a lot of the images were taken at City Winery. One of the wonderful things that I've done here is when, and I wish she was here, Eliza Saturday, I was backstage doing some portraits at City Winery. And it's a great story. I wish she was here. I was shooting Sean Mullins and Martin Sexton backstage. One of those images of Martin Sexton is in the book. There's a different image of Sean Mullins. And this beautiful woman comes out, and she's looking around like, what the hell is going on here? Sean Mullins, who's a friend of mine, said, don't worry, he's shooting portraits at Americana Fest. So she goes, oh, really? And I said, yeah. She goes, you have a card? And literally, I pulled out a card with a photograph of Jewel. That was shot at City Winery in 2014, I think. And I pulled the card out. She goes, wow, I love Jewel. She goes, we need to have that hanging back there. She goes, no, I got a better idea. And she went and spoke to Dolly Chandler, who was the booker at the time. And I met with Dolly after Americana Fest. And she says, we have an idea. We want you to start shooting portraits backstage at City Winery. And literally, I didn't look, I have business cards that have various different photographs on them, but I happened to just pull out one in my pocket, and it was Jewel. And Liza and I started that project probably 7 years ago. Many of the images in this book are from those sessions. And then Mike Simon, Dolly Chandler left, Mike Simon became the booker, and it was a wonderful family at that place. I'm going to get emotional here because I miss you guys. And we created something that was just so amazing. Many of those images are in this book. The cover with Keb Mo was from one of those sessions. And that was the first shot right after COVID. The first show at City Winery right after COVID. The reason why I'm talking about saying this is because of the camaraderie and the little family that we built there. The amazing amount of friendships that have grown out of me just picking up a camera and taking photographs. And it's so much more than that. When I do a photo shoot, it is so much more than just taking pictures. It's about connecting deeply with people while I'm doing it and not making it about me. So the most important thing is with this book, it's really not all about me. When I do photo shoots, it's not about me. It's about who I'm photographing, their needs, and what's most important for them. And I'm just there capturing moments. I studied with Mario Cabrera as a photojournalist. And that's what I thought I wanted to do. And my images are just captured moments, even though I might be setting up lights or doing this, that, and the other thing, and I don't use a lot of equipment. And I don't use a lot of equipment purposefully because using a lot of equipment takes away from the moments. It even distracts people, and it's all about capturing these beautiful moments with all the people I photographed and making that connection on a level that I never could imagine sitting behind my desk in the World Trade Center in New York City. So yeah, I mean, that's what this book's about. And it's been we started, my friend Michael Weintraub and I, another wonderful photographer of this town who I've known for 20 years, he's the gentleman that put it in my head. You need to do a book. I did a book. You need to do a book. And that idea came around in 2019, and we did a show at Americana Fest. These two images were in that show of John Oates, and an amazing person who has been such an influence on my life and a wonderful helper. One of the things I love about Nashville is that people want to help you. They just want to help you. And that was really, really important for me. So I'm not quite sure where to go from here, but that's what all of this is about. It's about inclusivity. It's about diversity. And it's about opening your heart to what is out there in life so you can capture it in any way that you'd like to capture it. Through writing songs, through taking pictures, capturing life in such a way that it says something. It says something so deeply that comes from inside of you. It's about capturing what's in your soul. It's about connecting what's in your soul and then expressing that to the world without any barriers, without any editing. It's about fully allowing yourself to express yourself with what you want to say in the world. And that's what I hope this book says. So please read the wonderful essay by Ed Hurt. I don't know how the heck this guy knows all of that shit. Excuse my French. But, and then, you know, my story, and then Mary's beautiful forward. I wish she was here tonight. Yeah, I mean, that's what this is all about. So if you have any questions, Dave.
Yeah, you mentioned that you originally were thinking about photojournalism as the direction for your career. Can you tell me a little bit about the switch you made to doing the portrait photography, and in particular, the emphasis on music and why that was important?
You know, two things. It was a conscious switch. So I'll tell you a little story. So we're in the darkroom at Parsons in New York, which is where I studied with Mario for 2 years. The darkroom was huge. And it was a Friday night, and we're all doing whatever we're doing in the darkroom, doing prints and Cabrera's there, and all of a sudden, beepers started going off. So this is 1988 or 89. So these photojournalists had beepers. And at that time in New York City, what was happening was there were the Chinese gang wars going on in New York City. It was a big thing at the time. So right downstairs, if anybody knows where Parsons is in New York, it's on 12th Street and Fifth Avenue. And actually, Bill Woyd will know this. There was a pool hall right next door to a bodega that used to be the Lone Star Roadhouse, and where I first saw Robert Gordon play. So these three guys, Cabrera is one of them, their beepers go off. And they're going, oh, wow, there was just a shooting downstairs at Le Q, at the pool hall. And they start rushing out. Cabrera turns around, looks at me, goes, you coming? And I went, nope, I'm not a photojournalist. There was no way in the world you were going to get down there for me to shoot that. And right then and there, I said, no, that's not what I want to do. I do not want to do that. My photojournalism is about shooting portraits. My photojournalism is Dorothea Lange, Walker Evans, and Eugene Smith. And I'm sure there's books by those three amazing, amazing people in this book. When Mario Cabrera told us and showed us the work of Dorothea Lange, the work of Walker Evans, the work of Eugene Smith, three of the greatest photographers, photojournalists, and if you don't know their work, you should know their work. When I went to the Frisk to see Dorothea Lange's show, I looked and I had tears in my eyes and said, that is what I want to do. It's not so much about what they did visually, it's about what they captured. If you look at Walker Evans' portraits that he shot during the Depression in New York, and look at those faces and what he captured was something so far beneath the surface that you can stand and look for 3 hours at one image. Dorothea Lange did the same exact thing with her work. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to capture. When I told Cabrera, that's what I want to do, he knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was to go beneath just this nice photograph. It's all about just a nice photograph, but it's about capturing something that's beneath the surface and really capturing the soul and the heart of someone. And you get that in moments, and you feel it. I feel it. So for me, I know it's a roundabout way of answering Dave's question, but when I was working my job in the World Trade Center, a woman came up to me and said to me, so what do you want to do with this photography? And I said, I want to shoot music. I absolutely love music. Who doesn't love music? Show me a person in this world who doesn't at least like music. But I love music. But I can't play. I can't sing. I said, I want to capture it. And what she did was said, oh, wow, my friend is a VP at RCA Records. And at that time, I was we had books, we had portfolios. There were no websites or anything like that. So I said, could I get my book up to RCA Records? So I went up, and she didn't even know what she did there. She was just her friend in Brooklyn. They both lived in Brooklyn. So I went up. She wanted to be the VP of classical music at RCA Records. So I brought my book up, dropped it off. 2 weeks later, they called me, said, we'd like you to shoot James Galway for RCA Records. So I took 5 days vacation, and I flew out to Chicago. A buddy of mine who I grew up with had a friend who had a studio, and we did the whole photo shoot at this studio in Chicago. And when I did that, I went, this is what I want to do. This is exactly what I want to do, is shoot music. Now, one of the most important things is it's about following the path in life. So music was kind of like at the beginning. That was the doorway. It was the doorway of walking in and beginning to shoot music. But what happened along the way is different things happened. Different doorways opened up along the way. Then I wound up shooting actors. I shot 2 Broadway shows. There's a great story of how I got to Broadway through wanting to photograph Grace Potter, who I've never photographed in my life. But it was a pathway that was opened where I met a woman who was the publicist for Decca Records, wanted me to shoot Paula Cole. I went up and showed her the images. Came back. They hired me to Decca Records, was bringing back the days where they sent photographers out with their artists. So I went out with Paula Cole and did a shoot. And then they asked me to go and shoot, go out with Boys to Men to this amazing event at the Hilton Hotel in New York for T.J. Martell Cancer Foundation. And I still pinch myself with this. I met Stevie Wonder that night, and Berry Gordy, and Michael McDonald, Natasha Bedingfield, and so many more people that night. It was an amazing night. But as I was roaming around, a guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, who are you here with?" And I said, "Well, I'm with Boys to Men. I'm doing this for Decca Records, yada, yada, yada." He goes, "What do you do?" I go, he said, "Oh, I'm a Broadway producer." And I said, "Really? What play?" He goes, "Cat on Hudson Roof." I went, "Wow, my favorite Tennessee Williams play." I said, "Who's in it?" He said, James Earl Jones, Felicia Rashad, Terrence Howard. And I stopped him because a couple of months earlier, I had done a photo shoot with Terrence Howard for Gotham Magazine in New York. And I said, "Well, tell Terrence I said hello." He goes, "You know him?" I go, "Just tell him I said hello." We swapped cards. I took a couple of pictures with him. 2 weeks later, he calls me. He goes, "You want to shoot my show?" The point of the story is about following the path in life of where it's going to lead you, saying yes in life. One of the things I learned through my mentor, healer, teacher in New York City, Robert Baker, said, "Jeff, my grandmother always told me, say yes. Just say yes. If you say no, you might be closing a door of opportunity. If you say yes, well, either you can't do it, or they're going to find out that they can do it, and then they're going to fire you. But at least you said yes, and you walk through that door." So that was one of the most important things that I learned from this. And so it's just about always saying yes. Because every person that may come to you to ask you to do something, you can evaluate it, you can make conscious choices about it, but I always look at it as an opportunity. Whatever that opportunity, it's not about a direct opportunity. It's about an opportunity in life, in your soul plan, that a door may be opening up for you and you don't even know what that is. And that's one of the things I learned and just kept on saying yes. When he asked me to shoot his Broadway show, I was like, what? I never even thought about that. And he was a first-time producer. And it was 6 months of my life that was one of the most amazing parts of my life or experiences of my life on Broadway with James Earl Jones, Felicia Rashad, Terrence Howard, Anika Noni Rose, Giancarlo Esposito, in this groundbreaking show on Broadway, an all African American cast doing a Tennessee Williams play. Never in my life did I ever think that I would be shooting a Broadway show when I was sitting behind my desk in the World Trade Center, wearing a suit and tie every day. When we allow these doors to open for us and we walk through them, we'll find out what's on the other side of the doorway. And that is what the opportunities bring to us. So one of the messages, too, is about just saying yes. When Michael Weintraub said you should do a book, I was like, really? He goes, okay, I will. And we put it in motion in 2019. It began with this show in his studio. So it's about that, too. It's about walking through life, walking the path through life, and then when doors open, and these feelings come up inside of you, and you might get frightened about doing it, know that on the other side of that fear just may be something that's going to stand the way to your greatness or bring that greatness out inside of you. So it's really, really important to do that. And that's a part of this book as well. And that's in my little story. Any other questions?
You were talking earlier about trying to capture the heart and soul of that person you're working with. So when you're in their space and there's this partnership or collaboration going, what helps set the scene to get there? Any thoughts of how to build that? I know that's kind of a difficult question.
About, capturing it's a feeling I have. It's just a feeling in a moment. And bunch of the people here have experienced those moments with me. It's just, I'll be shooting, I'll be in a moment with someone, and I actually see it. And I go, oh, wow, I got it, I see it. And then I'll create it. But it's the moment, it's like Henry Cartier-Bresson said, called it the decisive moment. It's not a moment to me that I see. It's a moment that I feel. I feel it right in my solar plexus, and you feel the moment, it's there. It's a sense that journalists have. They know where to be. They know where to go, and they sense it in their soul. They sense it in their heart. In those moments when I'm shooting, that's what I feel. It's, oh. Liza. Wow. That's what it is, about paying attention to what you're feeling in the moment when it's happening. And you know it. I just know it. Like, I'll be shooting and I'll go, no, I'm not feeling that. I might not say it, but it's not something I'm feeling. So for me, the moment is really, really feeling that moment. Any other questions? Diana?
I got a chance to flip through the book when I got here, and it's obvious that a common thread is, as you intended, diversity. Also in the images, in the sets and the setups. There's not a real obvious, like you said, Jeff Fasano thing, but it's underlying. So did any patterns emerge as you looked at your body of work? No.
The criteria, there are so many people I wanted in this book, but the images just didn't cut the criteria of, can you see this hanging in a gallery by itself? And there are artists that I wanted in this book, but when Merlin and I looked at them, it bummed me out. I'm not going to name there's artists in this book that didn't make, because the images just weren't. We both closed our eyes. Can you see that hanging in a gallery by itself?
Right, but in your work specifically, you see patterns emerge. Like, one thing I kind of got was you seem to capture like an introspection in the artist, like a vulnerable introspective moment a lot of the time, not every time. But are any other things that you've drawn out
I've grown. It's another thing. One of the things that because this, like I said, we started this in 2019 and finished curating it over a year and a half ago. And when I look at this work, I realize now how much I've grown from where I started as a photographer, as a person. I mean, even musicians and artists, doing it is, you're growing inside of yourself. I mean, at least I hope I am. Musicians want to grow. We want to grow, and we wanted that to happen. When I look at the images in the book and I look at some of the stuff I'm shooting now, I'm going, wow, I'm a better photographer now. I've grown. Because I've grown as a person. Who I was when I started this in 2003, damn, I am not that person anymore. I'm not the person I was a year ago. I'm not the person I was 3 months ago. And then our work will say that. One of the things Cabrera always said to me, he goes, Fasano, what are you saying with your work? And he asked that in 1988. It wasn't until I did a photo shoot with Terrence Howard for Gotham Magazine in New York City. And then after Hustle and Flow came out, he called me, said, come down to Times Square, bring your book. I brought my book. He starts looking through it. He's going, bro, we need you in Hollywood. And he looks at an image that didn't make the magazine. He went, you captured my soul. That's what you do. I didn't realize that. After that, we hung out all day, about 9 o'clock at night. He split, I split. I went back, I called Cabrera, and I said, I think I found it. He goes, what? I capture people's soul. He goes, yeah, that's it, gotta go, click. He knew that from the work that I was doing back in 1990. And he told me, he goes, I know what you're doing, but you have to find it. You've got to find out what you're saying with your work, with your art, and with your life. We're not here to just arbitrarily go about this thing. You know, it's one of the reasons why I quit my job. I could have stayed in that job and be the president of the damn company. But there was something burning inside of me that said, I need to do this. I need to say something with my life, whatever that is. And it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Anyone else? Mr. Photoglow, you want to know when we're going for?
It's about what you capture on the outside and what you bring out from the inside. You touched on it, but it's to me it's so powerful and profound, and the idea of saying yes. And I'm just wondering, you saying yes in Nashville, which Italian food makes you say yes in Nashville?
I haven't found it yet.
Somebody help me.
Yeah, we had that burning question,
I took a
Mr.
shot.
Jim and I, right. I haven't found the Italian food. Well, it's eggplant parmesan. I've been a vegetarian for 20 years.
Forget about it. I love your work, and I'm taking it home with me.
Thank you. I love your work too. Any other questions? Anybody else? I think we got it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Jeff, for that great presentation, and thank you all for being here again. We're going to move over to the signing line portion of the evening. Give us a couple minutes to kind of reset the stage so we don't get in the way of these beautiful pictures. And then, if you don't mind lining up here, Jenny is over here. She's got Post-it notes. If you want your book personalized, she will ask you how to spell your name. Please do that, even if you are Jeff's very best friend in the entire world. Just like humor us, spell your name for the Post-it note. The line will kind of twist back there through kids. And also, all of the books are already signed, so if you just want a signed copy, you can grab one at the register and go.